Good morning. I don't know if Robert's still there. He gave me a good morning about 20 minutes ago. G'day, Robert. G'day, Davey boy. How you doing? And Fat James. Well, there you go. That's just owning the problem, maybe. I don't know. No offence meant, of course. Yeah, good on. Is it? Is now following our Facebook. Okay. Good morning. Hey, Robert Groves. He's there as well. G'day. How you doing? Okay, so where are we? And of course, we're going to get a whole bunch of fucking likes this morning. God, you do everything you can to try to stop that crap, but anyway, Marku, g'day. How we doing? Okay, I've got my coffee this morning. There we go. I got my coffee. Let's get the show on the road. Good old 7-Eleven latte yam. No, I'm not going to change the name of the show to Good Morning Thailand or Morning Coffee Thailand. I think we're going to stick with Good Day from Thailand Live at the moment. Let's, of course, come up with a better name. Anyway, so what I have today, or what I thought about doing, I've actually got it queued up, ready to go. I did get some ride footage back, coming back from Cha, so that's ready to kick off if we want to play that. And there's something else that's come up as well. There's something come up my news feed this morning. Let me see if I can find it as well, which may also be worth discussing. Where are we? General chat. There we go. And that one. Bring that up. Yes, I want to go to that. I want to bring that over here. This is an article that's popped up in my feed today as well. James Kennedy, g'day. So I'm going to throw it out there. Do we want ride footage in the back, or do we want to talk about the cost of living around the world? I was hopefully going to have Oggy here, but he hasn't showed up yet. Slacker. Anyway, we'll wait for people to join in and say hello. What else do we want to do? Let's close that. Let's open that. Docs. The respective links. Right, where are we? Where's my links? There's my links page. Yep, so if you would like to, if you haven't given your sort of thing a try out yet, you might find this difficult. But you are welcome to come in and chat. There's the Discord link. Soy Dog Cowboy, g'day, how you doing? Zenil, I can't even say that, sorry. Hi, my friend. Yes, g'day, how you doing? Zenil, Zenel. I won't try to pronounce your first name's hard enough. Yeah, so there's a Discord link. You can come on and sort of, be part of the on-board party. We do have some other links there, we've got, my little plug there for, if you'd like to shout me a drink, there you go. My Red Bull smoothie, or my latte yen, my morning coffee. Don't forget, we do have our Patreon. Where's it go? Back to that one there. We do have our Patreon. There we go, Patreon. Soy Dog Cup, yes, always good. Robert Mack, so I think we all loved having a look around Robert's house there. And don't forget, we've got the membership down below if you want to add there, and of course there's the super chat as well. You're quite welcome to plug in and do that on there. But anyway, we've got a few people here. We've got 18 people watching, and we haven't started really the show. We're going to get 4 likes. That's typical. Anyway, so what are we going to do? We're going to talk about this, or we're just going to have just a general chat and have them. Spartans 300. G'day Warren, bro. Steve from New Zealand. G'day. I thought this was actually a good one. I haven't actually read through it. I just caught it this morning, so I haven't even previewed it. But it looked like it was worth sharing. But as I said, I do have the ride footage. We can just have that going on in the background. But I was going to play that for my Discord guests. Anyway, I'll give you another 30 seconds to decide. I'd always do this one and then that one later on as well, so it doesn't really matter. You're Syria border, Turkey. Okay, yeah. Andy Stubbs, good morning. How you doing? Not seeing much way in the question and answer thing, so let's say we'll start with this one, eh? It's a good discussion point at the best of times. This came out. This is posted January 31, 2021, so it's fairly up to date. And I'm very much anti cost of living videos because they're so pretentious half the time. But this one here is actually a well done, from what I've done and read through. The article seemed very well written. And they've taken a look at a number of different things across the scope. Now, okay, so we'll have a look at the graph shortly, but here's, scroll down, there was the criteria. What was the criteria they were talking about? Okay. Methodologies and sources. Our calculations are based on the average American retirement age of 64 years. So it's 4 years more from me. Okay, and the American average, an American life expectancy of 78.4 years. So there you go. Calculations of monthly living costs were completed in US dollars using Numbeo based, I have no idea what Numbeo is, based on the following assumptions. Members of your household is 1, so this is a single person retirement. Eating lunch or dinner in restaurants, 15%. Choosing inexpensive restaurants, 70%. So, like it's giving a bit of a good spread. And drinking coffee outside your home, moderate. Well, I have one a day. Going out once a week. Well, you might take I take Chanya out once a week. Smoking, no. Alcoholic beverages, moderate. Well, I suppose that fits my sort of lifestyle as well. So that's right, let's just see what they sort of said. Global FM, g'day, how you doing? GK Private, the article was reasonable. Some things were not right for everybody, at least they did list their criteria, so one can evaluate and judge the article. This is what I liked about it, is that, like this is the problem that most people doing these cost of living videos in Thailand seem to forget. This is their cost of living and what they're doing, and it's a very biased approach to everything. It's not a data-based study, which makes this thing here a little bit more sort of tangible. At home and eating, Western style. Well, okay, I probably save on that because most of my eating's Thai. My Western eating is once a week probably. I'm looking, video, very happy for your life. Oh, thanks for the cycle. Yeah, I'm 64 and heading to Thailand soon. Okay, as soon as things simplify a bit. Yeah, exactly. Well, let's not go there too much. Plan to spend $300 a month. They actually fit a lot of their criteria and assumptions. Yeah, okay. Driving a car, moderate. Taxis, no. Okay, so I hardly drive the car. Probably we drive the only time once a week, and probably once every 2 weeks we go shopping. I walk around the store. Like our store is like a mini marketplace, or actually not really a mini marketplace. It is a marketplace. It's a morning and evening marketplace street. So again, you save quite well. But again, when we move out to our new house, if it all comes together, then of course there might be a little bit more driving involved. Public transport, yes, well, again 2 trips a week, that's probably more than what I do. Sports memberships, all household memberships, well, I don't have that. I don't know, would that be Netflix memberships? Maybe, I don't know. Vacations and travel, 2 times per year. Well, we're with Chanya's business, we don't go anywhere these days. She doesn't want to take the time off. She didn't even want to go to Cha-Am. Buying clothes and shoes, moderate. Yeah, well, we buy clothes from the market. Rent, apartment, 1 bedroom in city centre. No, we live in the outskirts, so we actually save a bit on there, and we have no children. So we sort of fit this in some sort of shape. Monthly living costs were collated for 124 countries, then multiplied by 176.4, which equals 14 years and 8 months between retirement age and life expectancy. To allow for a more comfortable retirement, figures were further revised up 20%. So they've even topped them out, another 20% on top of it. Since Numbeo data is fully user generated, it's skewed towards capitals and big cities, which might account for the cost of living estimates in certain countries appearing inflated. Note that Numbeo cost estimator does not include insurance, health-related expenses, and does not account for income tax in different countries. So if you're working, for instance. Cost of living figures in Numbeo are updated regularly and may not fully correspond to figures in the data set, which were accurate at the time of correlation, November 2020. So it's a pretty good summation of what we're talking about. The cost of comfortable retirement in the world. Do you have 600k? That's 600k US dollars. So if you're looking at Australian, you're probably looking at 800k if you're looking based on these sort of things. You just got to do that adjustment. But just 14% of the Americans in their 40s have more than $500,000 put away. Just 14%, okay. Yeah, I suppose, yeah. I would have thought that was a bit on the high side. And if you're in a similar position, you can enjoy a further full retirement in a more affordable country. Yeah, okay. So let's get down to the figures. Key findings. The most expensive countries in the world to retire is Bermuda. Really? Okay, where you would need at least $1 million US dollars. Pakistan is the cheapest country to retire. You would need only 182,000 to maintain for our example lifestyle there. Okay, 14 years of retirement in the US would cost $601,000. According to our metric, 40,000 per year or 2,841 per month. So yeah, like GK on your 3,000, that's a pretty good estimate. You could do that in America according to this. There are, what's it, Andy? There are new petitions in Thailand for people to sign for opening up tourism. Yes, I've seen that, Andy. Yes. G'day X and O. How you doing? G'day 3Jazz. GK Profit. I can afford more than that, but there is no need to go crazy. Yeah, again, it comes down to really what lifestyle you want. I'm very conservative when it comes to that. I said, like, okay, we might go out and have a boys' night out once a month. It was once every 2 weeks, but now with all the COVID shit, we ain't going to do it once a month. And the further I move out west, it just makes it a bit harder for me to get in and out. I love the BART bus. Well, the BART bus, we don't really, well, we do have BART buses, but you never really, I don't know where they go from our road here. I'd rather jump on a real bus, which is a little bit more, get a little more seating. But yeah, love the AC buses for some trips around the country. Although I've never used the buses around the country, some of those buses, they're like mini sort of discotheques, aren't they? That was quite funny. BTS is a blast, yes. A bit chilly. Yeah, blast of cold air when you walk in the doors sometimes. Adrian, how you doing? Thumbs up for the stream. Thanks, GK. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Good afternoon, Richie Kingstar. How you doing? Health insurance is a bit of a subjective, but I got that covered. Yeah, well, mine only costs 11,000 baht a year, which if I do the equation on that, The Australian dollar's, seems to be a little bit up at the moment. Where we go? So yeah, it actually went down again. Luckily, I transferred on Thursday, which was good. So converter. Right. So what is it? 11,000. Actually, let's be accurate. 800. 11,800. So it's $502 Australian per annum to cover my health insurance. I'm one of those people who's blessed with good health, so it doesn't seem, and again, getting the coverage now, sort of I can adjust that if things start to shape up a bit differently. But I don't go to the doctor. I don't have really ill health. I've got great health. Just scrolling back a bit. So health insurance. The things about the money total is it's too simple and just assures you spend the money down. I have more than 600k invested. Yeah, and that's the other sort of side of it as well. You can do what I've done and just pull out what you need and leave it in your investment funds. You need to have a running cash flow in an account. Like, don't rely on your, if you're looking at Thailand, don't rely on the 800,000 baht requirement on the retirement visa. That should be a working fund. So they should see that as something you put money in and taking out of on a regular basis. To what they're looking at in the retirement thing here is to see that you're spending money in Thailand. And the people I've met over the last 12 months who have a holding account for that 800,000 baht, they present that. They always seem to get the what do you call it, the microscope going over their details, because what Thailand immigration aren't seeing, and they will never talk about this, they don't see you spending money, right? So they see that you're complying with the visa and that's the rules, but they can't see you spending money. So they don't have another bank account and they don't have insight of other bank accounts to know that you're bolstering the economy, if you want to. So they, so I've heard most of those people who just have a holding account expect you to come in 3 months after your renewal, and then show them the fact that money's still in the bank account, and then of course it can go from down to 400,000 for 6 months of the year, but it's got to go back up to the 800,000 at the 3 months before and 3 months after. I haven't had that requirement come into my account because it's a working capital fund, and I keep over 1 million baht in there, and they see money coming in and going out on a regular basis. But yeah, so I keep all that money still in Australia, where I've got a little more bank guarantee on that. I'd hate to think of people having all their funds here in a Thai bank and then something go, some sort of weird shit go on in some sort of bank. There's a lot of stories around here. Like I've read recently, there was special investment funds being set up by particular banks in Pattaya, and like sort of 100 million baht has been sort of absconded with by people, and there's no chance of ever getting that back, and the banks won't cover it because of the fact that it was fraud by a person, not by the bank. So the bank feels that they're not responsible, even though it was a bank employee that did it. How does that work? At least in Australia would be guaranteed, and again, litigation is a bit of a complicated procedure here in Thailand as well. Yeah, 3k is doable. House share, housemate, etc. That's sort of ways you can lower it down. Get a Thai girl who's going to help out. I invested a couple of 100,000 baht in my girl, to set her up in a business, and now that sort of side of our life, I'm basically paying a single man's, relative, thing here. People, seem to sort of want to kick the tires on that shit all the time. It really surprises me how people are trying to save me every day of the freaking week, But I think it's just something we've got to deal with here in Thailand. And there's so many people, love to read, all the horror stories coming out of Thai visa. Don't forget, Thai visa is infested with, a lot of these people who have bought love in Thailand and lost it, along with the house and car and probably the sick, buffalo as well. uh, there's a lot of people like that, and don't forget, bad news travels fast. So never use those sort of studies as a reality of of how life is here in Thailand. Ring the bell every night can break. Exactly. You should come on, GK. I gave you the link before. The link's down below in the thing. You come in and I'd love to have you sort of participate rather than sit there and type all day. William, good morning. How you doing? Good morning, Winston. Hello, Warren. Yes, Mitch the Mitch. How's Mr. Mitch today? Good to have you along. G'day. All relationships don't end badly. Well, most of them don't end badly. This is the thing. I think, out of all the people I know here, the situation, their situation in Thailand ending badly, is more on a health basis. I think I've had one of our friends from our my Friday coffee meetup. Now we knew he had cancer, but he passed away a couple of months ago from a cancer. It's not a sort of a sudden cancer. He was battling cancer, but he was retired here in Thailand, battling cancer and dealing with it on a daily basis with his health insurance and everything else. But it finally got the better of him. But they're the sort of bad stories I hear here in Thailand. And don't forget, we are, most of our generation here living in Thailand, the retirees. That's really the bad thing we look at. I look at it from a point of view of the fact that, okay, I might be 23 years older than my girl, but at least I'm providing a lifestyle for her and the ability for her to have a better life than what she did before. In a number of sense, don't forget, being transgender sort of limits the pool of acceptable relationships that she would be be capable of. And that's why she's always trying to save me. And we are going to do a bit of a video on that one on our Patreon. Sonny sort of suggested that I do a special video for our patrons because he's asked the question of what's it like to live with a transgender. So keep an eye out. That should come out in the next week or so when I get that one cut and edited. It's not going to be a public video. It'll only be for our members and Patreons. But said it was a request by one of our members, so we'll do something about that. That's one of the things I've always offered with our Patreon and memberships. Any special videos people want us to do, then we're quite obliged to help them out on that one. So Ron Dawson, g'day, how you doing? Academy of the Dirty Guy. Some people have got some crazy names. Good morning, how you doing? I think relationships are no more liable to end badly than in Western countries. Most are good. Actually, I think if we really look at the numbers game, now I got no empirical data on that. I think relationships in Thailand here, as long as you are faithful and look after your girl, you are pretty much guaranteed to have a better relationship here in Thailand than you are in America, because there's not so much heavy emphasis on, you stayed too late at the golf club, now I'm going to divorce you sort of bullshit that we have to deal with in Australia and the US. And of course the women in America and Australia want to wear the pants now, they want their equal rights, they want have their cake and eat it too. I want you to spend all your life earning money to pay the mortgage, and then I want more than half, which is the way that the law systems go. Like basically, if you get out of the relationship with more than 50% of the joint, then you're doing pretty well. I think the average numbers coming out of the US, I think, average out 65. Usually goes 65% to the woman, and the rest to the guy and the lawyers. That's just the way the numbers are. You're better off having a relationship in Thailand with a pretty thing who still thinks like a family woman. She wants to have a relationship as long as you do the right thing. And they've got other ways of dealing with it, like feeding the ducks if you really stray too far. So If you don't know what feeding the ducks is all about, then you should watch some more of my videos, shouldn't you? Mr. Mitch. Okay. What is it? Where we go? Yes. Morning to I think relationships to know more. We just did that, didn't we? My name always brings a smile on people's faces. I wish I was that creative. That's it, Mr. Mitch. What gender are women called these days? I'm confused. What gender are women? Well, we call it. Well, the relationship is called cisgen. If we wanted to use all the terminology that the psychologists want to, bring into the equation, they like to create these boxes. And this is a thing that has really riled me up recently on in a number of sort of ways. The way that everything seems to be put in the box. Like, when COVID started 12 months ago, there was this like all that bad stories of people got this and got that, and totally avoiding the 98% of the population that pretty much are asymptomatic, or however the numbers look. I don't blast me on numbers. I think Andy's better on the numbers than I am, but. Now we've got all the horror stories of the vaccine coming out, right? And so people, with low immunity can't take the vaccine. People with low immunity were the ones who get in the virus to start with. That was who they were supposed to be targeting. The only way that this virus is going to disappear is if they just let it run its course, and take care of to mitigate the circumstances, just like the flu. People of ill health are going to suffer. I think that there should be a bigger emphasis these days on people's health in general, right? How many kilometres a day do you walk? It doesn't require much. Like, okay, so I might be on that little walking thing now because I'm doing that now. I walk 4 to 5 kilometres a day. I've stopped jumping on the motorcycle to go out on the soy. I walk down the soy, and I feel much better for it. Then you can look the tan line here. This is from right into the arm. Gloves stop there, and the jacket, when the air goes up the sleeves of the jacket, leaves this part of the skin exposed there, so it's got a nice little brown tone. But that's all good vitamin D shit, That's really good for you. Asian women appear to want a faithful relationship and marriage, yes, as opposed to Western women. That's one of the things that seems to be the difference between Asia and the West. I wish we still stopped calling it the West, because Australia is not the West. Australia is the South, and we can't really call it first world versus third world country, because Thailand, in all respects, is first world. We've got access to all the same amenities and mod cons here in Thailand as we do in America, at a much better cost. So I don't know where this first. We need a different way to different terminology. We'll have to come up with something like that. Maybe we can make something stick, because it's no longer the West. It's Australia's the South, and you got South Africa, so like the bottom part of South Africa, that's quite affluent as well. Feeding the ducks is frightening, yes. Mr. Mitch, hope you're wearing your gloves. I suggest you get either really drunk, watch cartoons, or eat some happy mushrooms. Well, actually, being a connoisseur of the fungal variety of special herbology, I never thought they were happy. They actually taste quite disgusting. If you really want to eat them, it's something you actually force yourself to eat. It doesn't matter how you cook them, right? The taste is pervasive. It is really not the best tasting thing, so I don't think you could be happy. Half an hour after it, then you become quite ignorant of any sort of happiness or sadness, and and the colours flying through the room. But yeah, US divorce rate has actually been steadily improving every year since 19. I think people are just smarter about not getting married right away until they are really sure. Yeah, I think this is one of the things we've got to agree upon as well. That things are sort of, people are looking at what's happening to their parents, right, and they're sort of saying, maybe we'll just hold off. Maybe we'll just focus on our career and get that nest egg started. I know I didn't get married till 28. I was 28 years old before I got married. Mind you, it was partly because of the fact that I didn't really want to give up the party lifestyle, which is again another thing with the younger generation. I was doing the the millennial thing, but I was still a Gen X. So there you go. Warren Thierot, good morning. How you doing? Here in the US, politicians can't even flirt with a co-worker. Yeah, I'm not going to go there. We've had a recent spate in Australia where there's something that they'll notice pens go missing off their desk, but they don't know somebody's shafting, long dicking somebody in the next room, and then try to hush it up. It's okay for pens and having a sort of inquiry about pens, but long dicking, you can't have a quite inquiry about somebody being long dicked. And I'm pretty sure those politicians really don't fit into the long dick category either. I'm pretty sure they're all short dicks. It's been proven that the virus hits obese people the most. Well, I've been focusing on getting my weight down. It seems to have stabilised right now at the 82, plus or minus 0.5 at least on the last 10 to 14 days. But I said we went to Chanya on Tuesday. I had this big barbecue, and then we went out to dinner on Wednesday. And I noticed when I go and overeat, then I really should be doing more. I still got to get around and get that bike shit done, but the bike, is just one of those sort of things. I just really, got to think about it. Not that I don't deny the fact that I'll get out on the bike and ride. It's that I want to get the right type of bike, and make sure it lasts and meets the needs that I want. Augie, you did join us.
Si, senor.
I was wondering when you want to get here.
Oh, I had to wake up first.
So wake up in the afternoon. So we're going to cover this cost of retiring in every country. So we've got a bit of a stint on here and a bit of a talk discussion point. But we keep on diversifying. I'm just watching what people are talking about. And anybody else want to come on and chat as well? That's what the whole idea of this show now. There's going to be more of an emphasis of you coming and joining the discussion. Live on the thing, and if we really want to, we'll pop out. We'll have you appearing on the side over the rules of engagement there, because the rules of engagement are down beside. We'll just pop you down the side there as a team chat. What does Jerry want?
What do we all want?
What do we want? When do we want it?
We want it now.
We want it now. I always thought about this. You can say what you were saying. What were you going to say there, Thomas?
Oh, I always thought sexual harassment was a perk of the job. Loved it when my female boss got frisky.
Oh, right, okay. Your female bosses got frisky with you? Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Back in the day. Not going to go there. They never really want to go. Well, I never had a female boss, of course. That was one thing, but.
Yeah, I was the assistant bookkeeper and the head bookkeeper, and she enjoyed her times, enjoyed her alcohol. Oh,
okay, fair enough. Sorry, I got distracted. How much are we with the cost of return? Yeah, we've got distracted. This is what happens. We always get distracted. Okay, this is a community group that we build up from here. This is the thing, where a lot of people here with the blue writing on the thing, and they're the moderators. Well, they're the core group that tend to always come in and do the thing. The guys with the little circle there, they're actually channel members now, so they get little extra perks and lurks and perks and sort of stuff. And they get a little thingamajig on their name, which is cool. So you know who's the real players in the game. Was it Mr. Mitch got my first Pfizer shot on Monday? Okay. And how are you feeling about that, Exo? I had Psycho was telling us last week he had his first shot as well, and felt a little bit uncomfortable, but outside that, I heard that the second one's always worse. Way good. Both brother and sister had no problems. Okay, that's good to know. But as I said, I've been the news article, like when the virus started, it's always the bad news cases. And now there's all this talk about, holding off, vaccinating people because there's one or two cases of, that they can't explain what's going on for these people who have low immunity. I think people just need to... people need to focus on their immunity, right? Get healthy. How much are you walking a day now, Oggy? You're not, are you?
I've got my bike that I'm now riding, so it's
helping
my range of motion. Yeah,
okay,
doing between 5 and 15 minutes a day, just depends on
that's not
what I've got going. But it is helping range of motion.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Once I get my joints limbered up enough, I can put more time in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't go overboard as well. But yes, doing something and getting out and some vitamin D, these sort of things all improve your general health. If you're taking medicinals for not the natural ones like the green leaf variety, but the ones that the pharmaceutical industry insists that you must have to have a better quality of life, if you start removing those from your diet, you'll probably also find that your general health will increase as well. You might go through a couple of bouts of immunodeficient colds and flu and hay fever things might start to invade your life because your body's forgotten how to fight that shit. But give it 12 months, you might find the fact that you'll get over it. Americans always strike me as, remember that 60s cartoon, Roger Ramjet? Got to take your proton pill, That's it. Proton pill to make you feel really good, yeah. What colour you taking today? I'm taking a blue one today.
that was just meth in pill form is all that was.
I know. So Warren, what was the name of the song asking what do we want?
What do you want?
I can't think of it. Sorry, I can't think of it either. Just going through the list, making sure we're trying to keep up with everything. This is my challenge now, is trying to keep up with everything. Football players do, when they get overheated, they get closer to some fans. Keeping fit, vitamins, including vitamin D, sunshine important, healthy foods, all prevent viruses and illnesses, and diets. Exactly. It's not hard to be human, is the way I like. I think I was talking to Sonny about this last night. We were going through what's your best movies, and I remember the movie. Was it the Time Machine with Richard Taylor? Was it Robert Taylor? Back in and they had the Morlocks, and they had the above ground people who had perfect health, but they had perfect health because
that was the original H.G. Wells Time Machine.
Yeah, but they were in perfect health because the Morlocks wanted to eat them, they had to be provided for, but they were in perfect health.
Good sustenance.
Yeah, and the Morlocks were quite happy to make sure the food was provided every day. I still have this this theory of everything, Maybe the whole problem we got on the planet now is the fact that we think we're free, but we're actually being farmed by aliens. They're just fattening us up, and then we'll just. You ever watched that movie? What was it?
The one with Mila Kunis.
That's the one. Yeah. What was it called again?
Jupiter Rising.
Jupiter Rising. Yes. You know, we're just farm animals. You know, and they're going to come and farm us. They want to fatten us up. You know, so they give us all these secret recipes on how to make a hamburger. You know, which just puts that weight on for you. You know, they're going to come along and just, all these anal probing things you hear of in America. I don't know why you get anal probing in America, and why do the aliens want to come and anal probe many Americans when there's far more people to anal probe around the world than America. It's only 350.
I think they're just closeted anal files.
Yeah. But what they're doing is it's not. That's just like putting the temperature spike in the chicken. You know.
Yeah.
Are they
done yet?
Are they done yet? Yeah.
No, they still got another 75 years to go.
Oh yeah. Yes. Okay.
Well, this one will be dead by then. Let's go ahead and call him.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And don't forget, plants are farming us. Like this vegan thing. Don't forget, plants are farming us. When you think about it.
We supply the carbon dioxide for them.
That's not that. When we die, they put us in the ground and we become plant food.
Well, there's that too. There's that too.
Plants are farming us.
I've always said plants are what food eats.
That's right. Plants are what my bacon eats.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, pigs will eat anything. They're not vegetarian.
That's it. Yeah. Are you sure as I didn't?
I love the chicken commercials where they're talking about we feed our chickens an all vegetarian diet. So you're killing your chickens slowly. Chickens are not vegetarians.
Mm-hmm. Roy, I've got the Google Fit app on my phone, and I put in my weigh in every morning, and it keeps track of my steps in the day, so it tells me what I'm doing. I've slacked off this week because of the Tuesday-Wednesday thing. I couldn't keep up to the thing, but I did travel 200 kilometres back there and back again. But exercise is the key. That's right, it is. Robert Taylor. What was it? Yeah. Anyway,
I got my exercise today because I went to the Costco, and you walk to Costco through Costco, and that is a chore.
Is it? Okay. Anyway, so we got the key findings there. We found 125 countries where retirement is cheaper than in the US, and only 13 that are more expensive. That's an interesting sort of find. But here we go. Here's the actual big one. Okay, let's open image in a new tab. And let's blow this thing up so we can really see it in full detail. Do we need to go any bigger there? There are some interesting numbers here. Okay, so what do we got? We've got Thailand down here. 383,800 is the Thailand figure. And there's a lot of conjecture about whether Vietnam and Malaysia and everything else. So Vietnam is moderately cheaper in comparison on these numbers. And don't forget, we're looking at these numbers in retrospect to the fact that it's the same base criteria, not on personal experience. It's base criteria. So if they're including hamburgers eating once a day, then that's it. Every country is calculated on eating a hamburger a day, so it doesn't matter. It's just always the same base numerics that they're working from. So people sort of talk about moving to, like, would I move to Vietnam to save myself 50, 60, to save myself $30,000 Australian? No, it's just not. To me, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, so when they sort of use 555,000, I'm not quite sure how that one works into it, because if you try, you can't live in Australia for that. That's for certain. And this is not taking into account your pensions. This is taking into account what it costs to live there. Neil, hey Warren, joining late. Busy Friday night here in California. G'day, how you doing? I think it's just terrible how everyone has treated Lance Armstrong, especially after achieving winning 7 Tour de France. Okay, when I'm just okay. Well, I don't know why they don't. I don't know why they don't have Olympic Games based on how eugenic you can make the genome. So yeah, you have the Olympic Games, standard Olympic Games, no drugs. But let's have a second line. If somebody starts to sponsor a second line of games where it's no holds barred, pump them full of drugs. Let's see if we can sort of get the eugenic wars going.
Dope their blood, hype up their oxygen, give them the roids, the whole bit.
Fair enough. Let them see if we can. It's cool. I don't mind. Do more life. And did you look at cash fix? I'm considering the Philippines. Okay, here's the Philippines. Where's the Philippines? It's here. Philippines 369. So, in retrospect, if we're comparing Thailand at 389, 360 again, would I move to the Philippines to save myself $20,000 over the next 15 years? No, certainly not.
It's only 182,000.
I think the quality of the amenities here in Thailand outweigh anything that the Philippines has to offer. The only thing the Philippines has to offer is probably a little bit easier language integration than we do here in Thailand. But if that's if English is the thing that's got you working towards, then by all means, Philippines, But again, would you go to Vietnam? Again, no, because the fact that I think it's probably harder in Vietnam than it is in Thailand to really sort of, get along with the language barrier. And again, if as I said, the article mentions, if you actually let's scroll down here, and let's go and find the bigger map of Asia. It's around here somewhere. There we go. Open image in a new tab. There we go. Then we can scroll in this one. Yeah. That was an interesting one. South Korea, 542,000. Not quite sure why the cost of living there is so high. We don't have a cost of living in North Korea. But Hong Kong, 871,000. I would not have thought that. But I don't know whether that's the accommodation in city living, like if you wanted an apartment, because I remember sort of seeing a lot of that sort of box apartment living. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago, which is quite scary. I've got my little office room in the house that we're building, was 2.5 meters square. These people in Hong Kong, they've got white collar jobs, and they live in a room that size. That's scary. It really is. We've got a few more new people. DGGC, I don't know how you would say that. Alpha Life Guru, g'day. Next Bangkok meeting, please give advice. Would love to join. If you've got me on Facebook, hit me up on Facebook Messenger, and I'll add you to our Line group where we organise those meetings. But the other sort of side is we've got our Friday meetup. So I haven't been in for about 4 weeks, so I'll go in probably next week. I'm trying to sort of reduce those trips into the city because, again, I'm only going in for coffee, and that single Friday out for coffee and lunch and everything else, that's 1,000 baht. That's it. Lunch with the boys, coffee and afternoon tea, all that sort of stuff. If you're trying to save some money, then you save money. It's great to catch up with them, but I don't need to live there every week, if you know what I mean. Am I looking into crypto? Well, we can talk about crypto another day, but I'm still investigating and learning the lay of the land of crypto. I don't consider myself knowledgeable, but I also feel that I am a lot more knowledgeable about the situation than most people on the planet. The more I learn crypto, the more it concerns me about the Ponzi scheme aspect. Because there's nothing really tangible that pins it apart from goodwill, right? And again, at least the fiat currencies we around the world, again, that is a goodwill gesture as well, but it's tangible. Like I can go out and buy a coffee on the street with it. Whereas if you're going to use an alternate currency, that's the functionality you're going to need. Otherwise, you're going to be sort of bouncing money in and out of that fiat currency to support the other fiat currency. This is where crypto goes wrong. At the moment, they're really investment portfolios, and you just need to look at it very carefully. They're not currency portfolios, which is something you need to live. If you're going to live on anything. But anyway, so we'll talk about crypto another day when I'm more knowledgeable and I can sort of talk the talk. Hopefully we'd get Richard on here at some stage and we'll talk about it. But he's still trying to get back to Thailand, poor lad. Japanese Olympics will have no international visitors this year. I know, tell me about it. But anyway, so getting back to these numbers. So when you start to look at Singapore, poor Blue, trying to retire in Singapore, would you? Maldives. I know Maldives are nice and looks lovely when you see the pictures of the Maldives. But yeah, it's way more expensive than it is in the Philippines, Vietnam. Malaysia actually comes in better than the Philippines as well. But again, I just honestly could not live in a predominantly Muslim country. It's just one of those things that sort of really gripes me. G'day, Blue. I know you got your headphones off, but you've got the microphone open. Yeah, that's me talking in the background. Let me just move him over there until he fixes himself. Fix yourself up there, Blue. You're feeding the sound back through the system there. When you got there, move yourself back into the stream. Indonesia, again, I think Indonesia also a little bit sort of third worldish in a lot of respects. Blue, all I can do is hear myself. I'll mute you. That's all right. I can't deal with hearing myself talk in the background. You need to fix that. Tell me when he's got that sorted out, unless of course you want to mute him as well.
I muted him. Oh, he went away. Sorry, Blue.
I just need to sort it out. You got open speaker there. Sorry. It affects everybody in the channel. Sorry. Sri Lanka, 311. So Thailand, when we're looking at these numbers, Thailand, they're 389. It's still high in comparison to most of the other Asians. But again, what have you got to offer here in Thailand as opposed to other places? That's really the key we're looking at. Would you sort of Myanmar being more expensive? Well, that's interesting. We've got no data on Laos, which is interesting as well. I don't know why there's no data on Laos. They're a communist country, but so is Vietnam. But I would expect Laos would be something similar to Cambodia and Vietnam, so I would expect it to be less. But was it who we got? One of our friends is in Laos. Is he in Laos or is he in Cambodia? Augie?
We have somebody in there? Is that...
What do you call it? Yes, I know. No, I'm off the top of my head. Got to scroll down my list now.
My brain just froze on that
one. That's it. That's right. I got so many people.
The one guy that was gaming that was always with his buddies and everything.
Yeah, so he's probably listening.
That's got to be a cheap way to retire when you just room up with 4 or 5 other people. That's got to lower your.
Well, that's another thing. If you can deal with the cluster, like we did it when we were teenagers, I was flatting up till the age of 22, and it's okay when you got 2 or 3 guys in a thing, but the house never gets cleaned, and the stuff that you buy for your food, unless of course you're buying together, right? Just it's for, somebody's dedicated to cook 1 week and you really work some sort of regimented system. Then no, I have to sort of steer clear of the. You're going to have to find the right people to flat with. I found that my best living in flatting was with a girl, and you just felt a little bit more. Okay, it was the platonic relationship. We were just living together. That was it. Yes, I wanted to jump her bone. She was quite attractive, but she was a little bit, she was a little bit tomboyish. And really didn't like guys that much, but she wanted somebody to come in and share the rent. But we lived together for 9 months until I sort of said, that's right. I moved from one relationship into another relationship, and that other relationship, then I moved in with her, and spent 6 months with her, and long story short, yeah.
Been there, done that.
Been there, done that. So generally, I think this is a good. I still can't. They're not talking about Sydney here in Australia. Honestly, those numbers do not reflect Australia. And also interesting was to get to New Zealand. Some numbers could, but effectively represent New Zealand. But
was
Fiji,
it Slade?
Slade, that's the guy. Yeah. So yeah, but let's go to what's that? Macau. Where's Macau? Where's Macau? Oh, okay, it's off China there, is it? Okay.
It's another special protectorate.
Mm-hmm. South Korea, Taiwan. I can't believe Hong Kong. Can't believe Singapore. Those numbers are freaking ridiculous.
I like India's numbers at 184,000.
Yeah, and most of them do speak English as well, but I don't think that would be Delhi. I think that's they are.
No.
But there's something about living in India, with that density of population, everything else. I think it gets a little bit too claustrophobic. But then again, maybe we are. I live in Bangkok, and I actually quite enjoy my daily walks, and seeing people around you is just something that I find, in my psyche, it seems you're part of a community, even though you're a little bit outside the community. You do feel like you're part of the community. People recognise you. People say hello to you, and I'm sure if I was in Australia, that I can guarantee now, walking around the streets in Australia, people don't want to know you. I remember going, walking from road station to the office, and people's heads are down, grumpy, like going to work, grumpy, going home, grumpy everywhere, Try to have a smile on your face. It's very hard to keep a smile on your face in somewhere like that,
Put a smile on your face and they wonder what you're doing.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I believe that that's something that somebody told me about that in Russia. That can be a very negative in your lifestyle to be smiling in Russia. They think that you've got some sort of ulterior motive if you try to do that. But I don't know. I just like the fact that in Thailand people smile. It makes life a little bit more enjoyable. Academy of the Dirty, we're on there. The problem with these figures, they are all based on average costs. There is a huge spread of costs wherever you're living. But that's what I mean. This is what we're talking about is the criteria, the numbers they're using, they're based on, we did go through that, they are based on a set of statistical data, right? And this is the statistical data we're talking about here, which is in my thinking process, is a good way to average out those special costs. Drinking, yes; smoking, no; alcoholic beverages, moderate; at home, eating Western style eating, all the things that somebody from our Western society, to have an equivalent lifestyle that you're probably leading now. And again, we're not taking into account the we're not taking into account the lower sector of the Western society, the poverty borderline. We're talking about the people in middle class America, or what I really don't know how you even classify middle class these days either. The middle class, or the what they call, not what they call the poverty line class. That's a large percentage of Western society these days, because what is it? What was this? I'm just trying to think of the meme. The middle class are just the poverty line class are only to scare the middle class into working harder, or something like that. But yeah, so the numbers are averaged out across those sort of different sort of categories. So the fact that it takes into account, so that everybody's using the same statistical data. Yes, like this one here, Thailand, 389. So you could easily sort of lower that by eating more Thai food, right? They were talking about a Western diet, which is, like effectively, I don't know what you classify as a Western diet, maybe sort of, TV dinners twice a week, fresh dinner, you cook yourself twice a week, restaurant once a week, and things like that. But if you then go out and sort of change that and sort of have 80% of your diet is going to be just street food, you're going to save yourself a lot of money, because that's going to lower your overalls. There's a ways around that, but ideally what we're looking at here is using the same statistical data, and you could do that in any country to offset some of those costs. And yes, this figure here is basically, well, I that's not taken into account if you put that money into investments and draw from it and let that investment grow. They're taking into that 20% and the cost of living and all that sort of stuff, and 15 years. So putting that money, putting 2/3 of that into an investment, keeping some of it as ready, accessible cash, or in gold or something like that. So cash and gold, so you've got some sort of fungible asset, and every year you just adjust those figures out. Effectively, they're talking 15 years on that. That can give you 20 years. In my case, I did similar sort of figures, and I worked out the 20-year lifespans, 55 through to 75, or it was actually 55 through to 80. But yeah, now I sort of say 55 to 75 because of the losses I've made over the last 12 months. I'm so fortunately I work good health. I'm more than likely going to live longer than that. Who knows? Maybe the channel will grow. Who knows? Maybe you can hit the super chat there. It all grows. Hit the memberships. Hit the Patreon. It all grows. Always appreciated, never wanted. But it's there for you guys if you really want to support the channel. Do this cost you?
I thought it was always wanted, never required.
What did I say? Did I have a Freudian slip there? Well, always appreciated, never wanted, never expected. Do these costs assume you do not own your own home, and they sort of said it was rent, one apartment, one bedroom in the inner city. So in Thailand, for instance, that would be 20,000 baht a month. We're currently in a 3-bedroom townhouse in the western part of the city, which is half that, and 4 times the space. So you get the idea. That's sort of those little numbers sort of work into it as well. Yes, that's for a 14-year period, 64 through to 70 to 78. So that's what they're working at here. But again, you've got to use this. You've got to have to do the adjustments yourself. But it's like what we're looking at is where would you choose to retire based on some of these numbers. We can go back here. There we go. Hey X, thanks very much. So yeah, again, so we got the global map. So the article does a long short stay is just an estimate and subject to personal preference. Exactly, and you're going to have to make some adjustments yourself based on this sort of criteria. Finally, it comes through and gives you the jingle. And no matter what you do, this is what you need to start to do when you start to ascertain where you would like to go. So here's Africa, and if we start to look at Africa, we're not just talking about Thailand. Africa have some similar numbers. These numbers in Africa look better, but would you go to? Let me just bring that open image in the new tab. Okay, would you go to Ghana, right? Which is currently an epicenter for Ebola. Would you choose Ghana to? But again, look at that. It's about the same price as Thailand. Would you choose Nigeria? It's about the same price as Thailand. To Tunisia, Morocco, Algeria. Algeria. That's all sand, isn't it? As far as I knew. Not quite sure that one. That would be Sierra. Egypt. Egypt's actually quite inexpensive. What was that?
No, I was just gonna say if it's all sand, you can just live in a sandcastle.
Live in a sandcastle, yeah. Why not? South Africa. They would have thought South Africa would be a bit more expensive. Botswana. So let's have a look a bit closer. I just like the fact that they've used the same data everywhere, so that you can really start to, okay, what's it? Middle East. Let's open open image in a new tab. Let's bring this one up. Israel, very expensive comparatively. It's supposedly on those numbers, it's actually more expensive than Australia. Turkey. Well, Turkey's actually that's why if out of all the places that have a predominantly Muslim area or Muslim population, Turkey is one that I would always like to go and visit. There's some interesting stuff that I would like, archaeological digs that have done in Turkey that I'd love to be a part of. They've got those underground cities and caverns and things like that. I'd really love to check out and really get a feel for that. Iraq, no idea. No passion at all to live in Iraq to save some money. Lebanon, it's more about the price of Australia. Jordan, Syria, no. Kuwait. What else we got? There's a Kyrgyzstan. I can't even say that. How do you say that one, Noggy? The Kyrgyzstan?
Just a second, let me look.
It used to be all part of Russia, of course.
Who posted it? Oh, you're looking at the map. That's what.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Let's go and look in Europe. Okay, so let's have a look at Europe. So we got Russia. Russia's actually quite inexpensive when you start to look at it in those comparatives. But who wants to live in snow all the year round? Not me.
Might as well move to Canada.
Hopefully we'll get to America shortly. I'm going up the list. Germany, rather expensive. Spain, Europe.
Were you talking Kazakhstan or Kyrgyzstan?
Kyrgyzstan, that's how you say Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan was 227, and Kyrgyzstan
was 191.
191. Georgia 215, Armenia. Next month, yeah, okay. What do you got? Macedonia.
Yes.
Kosovo. These are all part of. It used to be all Russia at one stage, didn't they? Malta is expensive. Cyprus is expensive. Albania. Again, the snow. Anything here, this line above. I think apart from maybe sort of Malta and Spain. What's Spain got? Spain's 453. It's more expensive than Turkey. No, but more than expensive than Thailand on those base figures. Which is interesting because what was it? 8 miles from home used to be on a very popular Thailand vlogging scene, didn't they move? They moved to Portugal. Was it Spain or Portugal? They moved there to save money, from what I understand. But according to these figures, it's actually more expensive.
Well, I mean, the figures are going to vary on where you move to within the country. So, I mean, they're talking about inner city living. So that would be what, Hong Kong? But I mean, obviously, if you're in Isan or the dark side or something, your pricing, your cost of living is going to be a lot different.
Yeah. Okay. South America, Colombia, 215. Don't forget, this is just putting everything on the same playing field, so to speak. So that, like we're comparing all the same data. There was always going to be ways to move around and sort of adjust these numbers to if you don't quite have that sort of income level. And again, like I don't have $1 million US. I've got enough to what
I sure as hell don't either.
I have enough to do what I wanted to for a comfortable lifestyle with my partner for, was till the age of 80, was till the age of 75. And if investments stay good for the next 15 years, we could maybe re-extend to 80. But right now it got reduced to 75 because that hit was a fairly serious hit. It's one of those sort of 7-year things, and the 7-year plan turned into a 10-year plan, and we're just only coming out of something bad, and then this one sort of comes and hits again. Brazil's actually, like right now, but again, they're not handling the virus very well, but it's definitely a bit better than what it was Thailand. Colombia, they're all alternatives, no doubt about it. Ecuador, Peru, Argentina.
See, I just don't like the South America because of the chance of being kidnapped.
Well, there is that. Paraguay, I don't think Bolivia, landlocked country.
I had a buddy that went down. He's an electronics engineer, and he had to go down and support some of their equipment they sold to the power grid in what was it, Brazil or Colombia, and he had to have a full-time bodyguard with him, armed bodyguard.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
Bermuda is the most expensive one that they worked out of this thing here. So over $1 million to live in Bermuda. Trinidad. All right, so we got a mate that lives in Trinidad. $4.19. It's actually, I wouldn't have thought Trinidad would be that expensive in comparison. Puerto Rico, Jamaica. I don't know whether it's the close proximity to America and the amount of Americans lifting those numbers and figures up. I don't know. But 601 is the cost of America. I would actually thought it would have been cheaper than Australia, in those comparative numbers. But they're basing this, as being more expensive. I'm not quite sure why.
What city are they talking about? The cost variance across America is huge. Yeah. You can't lump America into one thing.
But I just think they're just averaging it out. That's all. That's all they can do, really, is average it out. Take an average, a mean average, take the top and bottom 5% away, and then mean average of the rest, and that gives you that figure. So, Guatemala. I was looking for Alaska, but they don't put Alaska there. See,
Alaska is the United States. It's not a different country.
That's it. It'd be nice to get that sort of break-up, state by state. I don't know.
Think about it: Hawaii versus Alaska versus, Iowa. The retirements are going to be hugely different.
Yeah.
Hawaii's very expensive, and if you start averaging all the U.S., I mean, it's like, okay, New York's outrageously expensive.
Anyway, just for your own reading pleasure, so let me just put the link up here so people can go and review this article at their leisure, to go over it and see what they can make of the data. Anyway, so I thought it just came to my attention today, and I thought it was a great starting article, and it seems to have got a lot of people talking, at least anyway. How about Yukon, Richie? How about Yukon? Where's Yukon? Portugal. Did they have Portugal? I didn't see Portugal. Did we have Portugal? Where's I've got to remember where Portugal is. Just
Well, that'd be Europe. Portugal was 429,000.
Oh, there we go. 429. Okay, yeah. Panama people are saying good for retirement. Yes, I've seen a lot of articles on Panama. Did we get the numbers on Panama?
That'd be South America.
No, there we go. Panama, 421. It's actually, according to these numbers, on those averages, it's actually more expensive than Thailand. I think there's other little lurks and perks in Panama that you can take advantage to. I think they don't have such a strict work requirement in Panama as they do on thing. There isn't the fiscal burden of leaving dead money in a bank account in Thailand and things like that for living in Panama. But again, living in that Western lifestyle in Panama accordingly is more expensive. So I think all we can do now is sort of, given the numbers all around the world, where would you choose? That's the big question to the audience is, of course, where would you choose to live if you had that $500,000 US, in stocks and bonds and saved up for a rainy day, you sold your house, you sold your car, and then you wanted to live somewhere. This is the big question. This is the sort of things that people have asked me to do this video. What was the thinking behind your choice to move to Thailand? In my case, there was one major factor that I always go back to. Chanya didn't want to live in Australia. That's it, right? And I always sort of said, like being transgender, and she has a support community here. She has a culture which accepts her who she is. Because like you take her to Australia, like she would fear for her life, knowing who she is. I know there's very little chance of anything ever been coming about it, but she would see on the news the general negativity towards the alt gender community. Australia, the ochre style of Australian living, and that the average male, bogon we call them, she would fear for her life. If she was just down in the centre of the city, just walking down the wrong street, she just would totally freak out. That would just play on her mind. We can walk down here. We talked about, do you feel safe in Thailand? Yes, I feel totally safe living in Thailand. Mind you, I'm also one of those people who's very aware of my surroundings. And there are telltale signs everywhere you go. If you know how to read, if you know how to read the game, it's probably the best way to. It's a game. Think about it as like a first person shooter in a gaming context. You've got to read the environment no matter what you do. And some people are totally blasé to anything that's going around them. And those sort of people, yeah. But I don't have any sort of fear. Like I've walked down the middle of back streets and the terrace blocks in Redfern as a shortcut, and people say, well, nobody would do that. Well, I did. I do it all the time. That sort of shit didn't worry me. And of course I had an air of confidence that obviously probably surrounded me as well when I'd walk through those areas. Because I was confident of the fact that if apart from a gang of them sort of coming out with chips, and like if it was a one-on-one or a two-on-one, I would feel that I'd be able to hold my own, because most of those arseholes are just bloody scared. They need numbers to support themselves, and I grew up in Scotland, so numbers weren't a mitigating factor when it comes to street fights. As long as you read the environment, you take it the big guy first, and then the other ones just usually fall into line. That's the way it works. Getting to so live more life. He chooses the filament. That's fair enough. To each their own. Where are the cutest ladyboys? Well, there's no doubt about that. They'd have to be Thailand. Mr. Mitch, Thailand is still number one. Live more life. Costa Rica. Well, maybe. Costa Rica is beautiful. Haven't looked there, but again, Costa Rica or Phuket. Like I would choose Phuket over Costa Rica. And Sonny's always on my case about coming down for a holiday there, so I've got to do something about that. Or he might unfriend me on Facebook if I don't get to meet him face. We're always meeting on Discord. We don't actually get to meet face to face. Okay, we use the cameras, so we meet face to face technically, but to sit down and have a beer or a whiskey with them, that'd be fun. Andy Stubbs, Bali, Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia. Don't know why you put Malaysia in there. I said again, maybe it's just me and my anti-Muslim sort of stance on it's okay to have your religion as long as I don't have to look at your religion. At least we can totally ignore Christianity because nobody lives a Christian lifestyle anymore. But Muslims seem to take it from one extreme to the other. No offence to anybody who's Muslim in the channel. I just feel that when we start to compare everybody's imaginary friends, right? I'm sorry, your imaginary friend was dreamed up by a pedophile. Really. So it's just life. Costa Rica, safe and cheap. Steph, g'day Steph, how you doing? Costa Rica, what was the numbers on Costa Rica again? Costa Rica's 370. It's about the same as Thailand on those numbers. So Thailand, there it is there, 389, 370, a little bit cheaper. Probably a little bit wetter as well. So that's one of the things I like about Thailand. It might be warm, but the temperatures are good all year round. Being good all year round means the fact that at the moment what we could do with some rain right now. Boys' Night 1st of April. It looks like we're going 1st of April. April Fool's Day, that's not the best day to go out on the boys' night out. Vietnam, nice girls. Yes, okay. I've not actually been to Vietnam. I've got a friend living over there, so he tells me that he's very happy with the girls over there. He was in a long-term relationship which fell apart, so now he's playing the field again, I believe. Live more life. I suggest you visit any of these. I think that's another thing we should talk about. If you start to see these, you got to get over there. You got to try a good 3-month stint. Right now, Thailand has the STV, which, as I said in one of the last videos, God, that sounds like a sort of a sexually transmitted disease, doesn't it? But STV. What does it stand for? Is it
short-term visa?
Short. No, wasn't short-term. No. It's a long stay visa, but STV. I can't remember what it actually stands for, the acronym. I keep on looking it up, and for some reason it doesn't stick. Thailand STV. STV. Somebody will beat me to it. Special tourist visa, STV, special tourist visa. There you go. See, Mitch got it before me. Good on you, Mitch. We have this. It's a perfect way to sample Thailand for 3 months, right? Living here and feeling part of what's going on. And this is, I said, this is what Psycho's now planning on doing. He was looking at getting the elite visa, maybe 10-year elite visa, so he didn't have to worry about this stuff. But now he's seriously considering the STV and probably doing maybe 9 months on an STV, and then bouncing out and going for the, if he then chooses to stay here, he'll bounce out and come back either on a education visa because he's had time to look at the education side, because he says he's still young, he'd like to learn some stuff, so bouncing out on the STV, so he gets to party on for 9 months, get an idea of how that cost of living is going to work out for him in a real sense of doing. Bouncing out, coming back in, you may not even have to bounce out depending on this COVID situation. Bouncing out, coming back in on an education visa because he's found something he'd like to study. He'd like to study Thai for 4 years to become a fluent Thai speaker, or he might want to do something else. He might do, mix his studies up. And then if after that 4-year stint in university, then if he still wants to stay here, then going for the what do you call it, the elite visa for 10 years, that'll cover him through to the retirement age, and then sticking with the retirement visa after he turns 50. That was sort of his long-term playbook. Just that the STV has come into it as being an option on that long-term playbook and not committing to that initial. I think initially it was the 5-year elite visa. Now he's looking at the 10-year for $1 million, because the 5 years now 600,000 as opposed to 500,000. So it's better value getting for the 10-year, and there's a few more lurks and perks in the 10-year. So it's again, for somebody who's mid-30s, it's a good way to plan the next 15 years. And that's once he sells those properties, he definitely I don't know how that plays into these numbers, because he's looking at he's looking at an extra 25 years to live. But that really depends on how much money he's got socketed away, what he's going to do, sort of what he's going to do outside the regime of retirement, and whether he can live that lifestyle. Maybe you'll do things online. So there's a lot of options you've got available to you, which can offset those costs as well. Was it Iraq? Just the whole idea of Iraq, Steph, that would really never really appealed to me. But yeah, probably grow no rain here for at least 2 months. Right? Yeah. Well, I think we had a little bit of rain 4 videos ago, but it was only sort of very light. I lived in Pattaya. They always see Farang for again, sort of, and go to Isan language barrier. I keep on saying, people sort of take that, if you're looking to live, and I highly recommend the western side of Bangkok. Again, I've given to the costs here, like a 3-bedroom townhouse, in somewhere like a Muban Sipat, or something similar. 9,000 baht a month. You've got the local markets on the street here every day, and you could really have a Thai lifestyle for very inexpensive. You're still close enough to the city to do a city thing, if that's something that really floats your boat. But yeah, one of the things that detracts my idea of Pattaya is there's too many foreigners there. Honestly. You come to Thailand to live with your girl. I don't want to hang out with foreigners. I hang out with foreigners on my Discord, but that's all right. You're over there. I'm here. It's all right.
Well, we're going to take over the neighborhood you're buying your place in, and it's going to be a expat den.
Is it? Well, there's a few rentals available in here. You won't find the place. I think there's 1 or 2 of them actually listed on the property thing. We can do a property one next week if we can go down property. It's up to you guys what we talk about. I'm just coming up with some ideas. I'm expecting you guys to sort of say, let's talk about this, and then get me to actually do some work. Special.
If I make you work, then you don't have enough time to play Valheim.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay. Us and Valheim, yes, that's work enough, isn't it?
I need you out there farming iron for me.
Yeah, well, if you need some iron, there's some in my base. Like, I think I've got everything fashioned up as far as I can go on my. I did 2 more iron runs yesterday after you logged out. So I brought about, was it 60, 70, 80, 160 ingots of iron across. Got my. I still need a little bit more iron because I want to upgrade that hammer to a level 3. I need 45 iron for that. If you end up with a good girl, your life is complete. Exactly, and I think that's the thing. I met Chanya. That was 80% the mitigating circumstances for me to choose Thailand, for me to choose Western style Bangkok, because that's where she grew up and it's where she felt the most comfortable. And again, when you're looking at spending your life together with somebody, you need to think about that. You know, it's not just about you; it's about you and the lifestyle that you want to live. If you end up with a bad girl, your life is finished. Yeah, well, that's the one. I think that's the goes to say with everywhere in the world, you find a bad one. Augie will tell you about the bad ones. You know, he had to do it twice to make sure he got it right, got it wrong the first time. Is that right?
I just figured out that they're all bad.
He figured out they're all bad.
But sometimes bad is good.
Yeah, it depends on what sort of bad you want. Yeah, so there are some bad girls that you probably really want to be with, you know. Chanya's a bad girl, in some sense. I'm not going to go there. That's another video for the Patreons and members. But Augie gets to hear about it. He's a member, so Augie gets to hear about it firsthand. What else have we got? I hear good things on Vietnam. Yes, well, as a little bit cheaper, but as I said, you got to equate those numbers out. You know, they had a fairly heavy US influence, you know, back in the 70s, and that really has never dissipated. There is certain areas of Vietnam you cannot go as a foreigner. I don't think that really comes to light. You know, there's some places basically foreigners are not allowed. Well, they go and they are completely ostracised. From my understanding, from what my friend in Vietnam's told me, you just simply can't live there. They just will not allow you to live there because you're foreign or you're American. More to the point, you know. Some of the death in Vietnam, it's really sort of made it hard for people to, you know, accept everything. Pattaya is not Thailand. You've got to remember that. Pattaya and Hua Hin and maybe Phuket is not Thailand. Might as well include central Bangkok as well. But you've got to come, and you've got to come here and spend some time here. That's the only way you really know you're making the good decisions. And again, losing figures like this, basing these figures, go and do the same thing in Vietnam. Do 3 months in Vietnam, 3 months. You know, choose the 3 children. You know, get a list of 3, and try the 3 out, and see what's best suits you. Like my mate Afe, you know, he's very happy with the Philippines. He gets to ride his motorcycle every day, you know, around the island, and you know, unfortunately, he's on one of the smaller islands. And you know, getting to the main islands, you know, that can be a bit of a challenge because you know boats only go out there once a day. That would sort of feel a little bit, you know, like exclusionary. No, I don't even know the word. Exclude you from just being able to, at the spur of the moment, go to Manila. You know, if that was the case, you know, midday on a Tuesday, I want to go to Manila now. Well, you can't do that because the boat leaves at sort of 10 o'clock in the morning, and you've got to be on it. You know, because you know, like this, a boat comes back at a certain time of the day. So if you miss that, you're gonna have to stay over the night on the mainland. You know, things like that. Sort of, that again is exclusionary. Sort of, you know, in my idea of living in the Philippines. You know, you don't want that. At least we've got one landmass here, and apart from a few roadblocks, it's just basically it's Thailand. Future vlog, how I lived in Thailand under the stairs. Well, Mr. Mitch, you're going to have to come out and try it for a week, won't you? We'll get the room ready. We're going to put a light in there yet. I noticed that the secondary, you know, establishment underneath the stairs at Rob's place, he hasn't put any lights in. Oh no, he's got lights in there. That's right. He has got lights underneath the stairs. There's no bed. It's full, you know, like they're going to have to move the junk out or put a hammock in, as I said, you know, so you can sleep above the junk. But we'll make sure we put a proper, you know, Thai-style bed down on the floor there inside, and I got to get some light fittings done so that you know.
Well, just a Tommy mat, right? You know.
I can get one of those little battery-powered ones. You know, you pull the
Japanese style.
Yeah, battery-powered. Just pull the little lever and it pops on, just so you got something to read by, you know. You know, for those little magic books, you know, got to get your magic studies, you know, the Harry Potter room under the stairs. Roger Ritchie, there is no one in Thailand. Pattaya is part of the diversity of Thailand. No one in Thailand. That is Stephen Monash, Mr. Match. He loves Under the Stairs. Has he been over here and he's lived under the stairs already? He keeps on talking about it. Yes, we know him. It says I've travelled around Thailand recently and all the tourist areas are dead, but the towns where mostly Thais live are great. Yeah, again, sort of nothing's really changed where we live here. It's really those, as I said, the red light districts and night spots and everything else. That's the things that are hardest hit. And they're trying to revive that. Patty is talking about having, water fights in April, for the Songkran and everything else. I'm sure it's still too early to tell whether that's going to be a situation. There's a lot of speculation about what's going to happen in Songkran this year. I think the government is going to do itself a disservice if they ban it again. That would almost lead to riots of a different nature if that actually happens. Because people are just becoming sort of a little bit more awake to the bullshit of the virus, and get an injection, get a vaccine. Still doesn't stop you from carrying the damn stuff. This is what's going to come out in the next few months, where they let people in without quarantine who have been vaccinated who are still carriers. This is something that's coming out in the news now, that basically you get the vaccine, that's it. You're immune to it, but it's still on your body. You're still carrying it. It's just not affecting you. Just if you've got a heavy infestation in the back of your throat, that's it. You're not going to get it, but you're going to carry it, and you're going to cough it over somebody else. This is one of the things that's going to come out in the next few months. Roger Ritchie,
they're already talking about it here in the U.S. It's like, okay, just because you had the shot doesn't mean you're safe to go around without your mask. You need to, because you can still be a carrier.
Yeah.
You can.
It's just the way this is all part of the plan. Until we actually sack the governments of the world and the people sit there and rise up, right, and face the fact that the people who are of poor health, unless of course we take care of these poor souls some way, right, they're going to succumb to it. But basically, most of the population are going to develop an immunity to it. Like we have a good percentage of our population now has an immunity to influenza, and we all already know that there has been other strains of influenza that have been worse than the Spanish flu, and we seem to get through it. And we've had other influenza styles, the SARS and the H1N1, the pig flu, and other things like that. Those numbers were more scary than what we got here, and we dealt with it. But there's an ulterior motive going on, there's no doubt about it. Horhin is not Thailand, question mark. One could say that there is more Farangs in Bangkok, so Bangkok... Yeah, well, again, Bangkok, as I said, Bangkok is also not Thailand, but Bangkok is, again, not really a tourist destination. Bangkok is the epicenter of business, so it has a different overtone. You can't really judge Thailand by Bangkok, but if you want to live, a westernized lifestyle, Bangkok in the suburbs is probably a good bet that's going to give you access to everything you're probably already accustomed to. Right, I think the 1 million baht visa for 20 years. 1 million baht, I think it's 1 million baht was 10 years, wasn't it? That's the special, what they call it, the elite visa. It's 1 million baht for 10 years, which can be extended for another 10. I think the 20-year one was 2 million baht. Well, somebody can correct me on that one. I was reading something other that there is other ways you can get, what they call permanent work visas and things like that now. There's agencies out there. I don't know how they do it. they will actually sponsor you. And there's a visa company doing sponsored work visas for as long as you want. No money down. Oh, you've got to pay them, of course, an annual fee. No money down, but you're allowed to work, you're allowed to do everything you want. I don't know how they do it. I don't know what visa it comes under. I don't know how they manage to sort of, but again, those sort of things. Who says what they're doing? What trickery? When you start to look at all the visa types, because there's a myriad of visas available. But can a foreigner obtain one by himself without some sort of Thai involvement? And this looks like it's another way of getting in the country and be able to do what you want when you want and work as much as you want at whatever age you want. I'm not going to go into it because I don't know the validity, and it could be subject to what they call false information, and there are specific media laws here in Thailand, which I also have to be aware of. Don't give false information. So that's a website. I could reference the website, but then it goes on. How valid is it? It's a question. Living whatever like that. He agreed, moved there for 3 months in each country. Bad girls give you too much drama. Well, depending on what we mean by bad. Right? Bad is in bad personalities, or bad is in, man, that's bad.
Bad.
That's just so bad. Chanya, chipawai, hey, you're bad. I think was it Koh Samui, nice to stay a while, cheaper than Phuket. Unfortunately, we don't know a breakdown of those smaller locations. Phuket is probably one of the more expensive places. That's what I know. Koh Samui, I've never been to Koh Samui to really make the judgment call on that. Guess most Thais need to be vaccinated for the tourists to start arriving. What I've heard this week was specifically the island of Phuket is trying to set itself up as a bordered country, which means they're going to allow you in on your vaccination certificate, and you can't leave, you can't go to the rest of Thailand. So it's going to be like a quarantine island. The movie Escape from New York came to mind when I heard that one. One bridge out. remember Escape from New York and Kurt Russell?
Yep. And then they did Escape from L.A.
And then they did Escape from LA, yes. I didn't think it was the same. I think Escape from New York made sense because it is an island. But Escape from LA, yeah. How did they do this? I don't remember seeing Escape from LA. I think I gave up with Escape from New York. How did they escape from LA? Because it's not waterlocked.
I can't remember if maybe that there had been
a wall
earthquake and it was waterlocked.
Oh, is that right? I'd have to go and find the movie.
I'd have to go watch the movie now. I can't remember that. Yeah, I'm old. I have a very short memory.
Bangkok Pat, g'day. How you doing, buddy? I love your last video. It was great. Will we see no tourists allowed signs in shops that are still living in the absolute fear? Well, I haven't seen it here in Thailand. I haven't been everywhere in Thailand. I have seen some xenophobic things pop up on news. There's some news articles. No foreigners in the little 11-seater buses and things like that over the period of time. But as soon as they come to media attention, they are pulled down because Thailand doesn't want to go along that sort of idea or path. It's a very much of an anti-Thai goodwill thing, but again, it's the ignorance of people. People don't understand. Snake Plissken, yeah, that's it. Snake was the man. That's it. Yeah. I thought he was better in Big Trouble in Little China, wasn't it? That was I loved that movie. That was fun. I mean, when we open up again officially, yeah, it's hard to say. I think, given the flack that has happened in the last 12 months of these little pop-ups of no foreigners in buses, no foreigners here, no foreigners there, and they get quickly shut down and told to cease and desist, I don't think it will happen. Unless, of course, we see something in the numbers game, right? Again, what we talk about, the vaccination is not the panacea, right? Good medical and good health is the panacea, right? A good medical to recover if you do catch it. Quick detection is what we need to do, right? A home test kit, you just like a home pregnancy kit. You got a sniffle, right? You go to the chemist, you get the home COVID test. You stick it up your bum or something, and then 5 minutes later it gives you a reading. Oh look, only one stripe. I'm safe. I don't have COVID. Then you will feel better. Right? Part of the thing is the fear that goes along with these sort of things. Fear creates dis-ease. Dis-ease. Fear creates dis-ease. People haven't worked this shit out yet. I don't know. Live in fear because we are living longer. Well, that's the other thing. I think there was numbers I saw coming out of the US last week or the week before, saying that their budget for retirement income has grown because of the amount of death that's happened over COVID. I don't think it was America or something. I'm pretty sure it was America they're talking about. They see that there's more money in the pool to take care of our aging population now because there's less aging population. What a morbid way to look at life. Honestly. It's...
Well,
Yeah, a 10-year visa, $1 million, 20-year, 2 million, 2.14 million baht, specified with the Thai visa program office. Okay. I think that the 20 years is just covering a bit more of a cost of living adjustment because they, planning 20 years out. You are signing a contract. I don't know whether they're ever allowed to adjust that contractual time in between. Once you take it, I suppose if you lapse. But again, trying to fight a contract here in Thailand can be fun. Soldier, 15,000 miles to Graceland, Tombstone, The Hateful Eight.
Oh yeah.
Thing was some of my favourite Kurt Russell movies. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I haven't seen any of those. Oh, The Thing. Yes, right. I remember The Thing. That's one I did.
The Thing's good. Yeah,
I did see.
But you haven't seen the Graceland?
No, I haven't seen that one. It never struck me as a movie to watch. It's not science fiction, is it?
No, it's definitely not science fiction. Yeah, it's kind of a heist action movie.
Yeah, okay.
More of a little bit of a mind fuck. But.
Yeah, War on Fear, war between maskers and anti-maskers in Texas. Well, it's coming, against.
Well, they've now had some of the states have removed all mask mandates.
Yep. Well, this is what we're getting. This is what we're facing. Isn't it?
Hello.
Yeah. Anyway, I try to avoid
it's up to the people.
I try to avoid the COVID discussions because it's just a no-win situation. The COVID vaccine will have to be given annually, the same as the flu vaccine to give you now. Yeah, and if you don't have the flu vaccine, that didn't prohibit you from travelling. But the COVID vaccine will be sort of something. And again, it's all to do with pharmaceutical profits. What happened 3-4 years ago? The cannabinoid revolution started 3 or 4 years ago, and that hit the profits of the pharmaceutical industry, because their profits on analgesics and what's the other one? What's the opioids? The profits on those two declined, which was one of their major profit lines. And all of a sudden, 3 years later, we have COVID, right? And now we've got pharmaceutical industries giving you the answer again, because cannabis won't solve the problem. Well, actually, it might, because you don't have to fear them. We haven't got the data. Will the data ever be produced on it? It's all manipulation of the population, because unfortunately you can't have 7.5 billion people being run by a handful, right? Yet they want to run the world by a handful of people, right? It's those handful of people we need to remove from the population. End of story. We need to get back to social living. This is why we have our community here. I keep on talking about it. We have our Discord community. We're trying to build that. This is where we hang out. This is where you come and just join with friends, and we can just we can talk about this stuff and really have a chin wag. Saturday morning we can be part of the group on the Discord. We'll pop you up here and have your video feeding in here to the side. Over this way. It's a community. We need to work back into community living, in every way, shape and form. When you have enough community, we can sway decision, right? But you need to have those decisions. You need to have the community first, right? We've fallen into the fact that even sort of community living in Australia has become council mandated. Like seriously, 20 years ago we had the neighbourhood watch stuff. Great idea, moved into getting people looking after people in their own communities. And that fizzled out because it became a sort of a financial burden on people. But yeah, we need to get back to living as a community again. We need to get people thinking together, people living and sharing information, because the technology curve is too great for any one person. And we'll have everybody coming in and sharing information that they know. Like today, I'm sharing information about, cost of living around the world. Help people make better decisions. And we've got looks like a pretty good crowd. We've got 46 viewers running. 2.5 million people. The Spanish flu killed 50 million. Yeah, I know. Sort of there's memes around about that, Richie. Roger, Richie. Okay. People with last names look like first names, don't they? Yeah, so it's strange there's no flu deaths. Yeah, I know.
Roger.
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, it is strange how the influenza deaths, are basically almost non-existent. And we need to wake up to that fact. I just hope that the world wakes up to it. A nice way. That we don't want to be warring against each other on this. We want to be warring against the people who make these outrageous decisions. And the only way to do that is we need to get back to community. We need to get down to groups of people working to meet the one goal of the end means, right? Which is safer living. And for want of a better word, releasing the inner beauty, which is the Callisti Liberation Front. What somebody said the other day, they were a lot worried about the name of the group. They thought it was some sort of what did they sort of say? There was some sort of movement.
A militia group, maybe?
That's sort of some sort of militia group. No, Callisti is a Greek word for the beautiful one. So liberate the beautiful one inside yourself. That's what it means. Go on, people who have no idea how to play on language. Stephen, hi, are we live? Stephen, we're almost dead. No, 10 minutes before the end of the show. You're coming in late, slacker. Heading off for a swim now. All right, catch you later. Okay. Yeah, the pool, Robert's place is really good. So maybe next week we'll do the ride home next week. Maybe I said to somebody, I said, we're going to play the ride home this week. I can give you clips of the ride home. We can do 30-second hops. The trouble is, I didn't realise somehow the camera reset, and it was recorded in 4K narrow field of view. So it's a lot more bouncy. I really probably need to put it through a stabiliser. It didn't give me what they call the wide angle, which is a bit of a shame, because this is really a fun ride at wide angle. You get to see more outside, and yeah, I guess this is the coast road going up. We can do 30-second hops going up the coast road for the last 10 minutes. But I think I do need to put it through the stabiliser. When you go wide angle field of vision, it doesn't hop around so much. But as I said, the video is in 4K, so I can rehash it and put it through a stabiliser. Here's me stopping in for fuel on the trip home. The coast road is a really nice. If you ever get a chance to do the coast road, it's really quite a fun ride, or even a drive. I know when we drove down last time, we went back that coast road as well with Chanya, and it's much more. It's just much more scenic. It might be flat, but at least you got short sections of road and Dalo, a couple of marker. It came up there, but it didn't come up on there. Oh, there it is there. It jingled before it came up on the live chat. There you go. Couple of mark up. So yeah, there's one thing you'll sort of see along here this trip if we flick through. I don't know. It's probably around about getting up here. These salt flats. They actually farm salt out here on these flats, and I know this must be harvest time, because a lot of these places there was little groups of people. You stop and to see these. All the boys from around the area had motorcycled into these areas, and they're all raking up the salt into little piles. I didn't think that. I'd never have thought about salt as an industry here in Thailand, but
just take salt water.
That's right. It only takes salt water and an area for it to evaporate. I remember doing that in my chemistry class where we make salt crystals. And I remember doing chemistry and making sodium chloride back into salt crystals.
Yep.
Yeah, that was just go back there. Go back 10 seconds. Where is it? There we go. Little motorcycles there. They're stopping out to do that one there. Little groups of motorcycles parked on the side of the road. But yeah, it's a fun ride home. If you ever get the chance to ride or drive, it's just better than bouncing along the main road. 3 lines of traffic. And all I'm doing there is I'm trying to ride. Warren, couple of marker. I'm trying to ride a little bit faster than the slow traffic. Yet I might be doing 15 kilometres an hour over the speed limit, and I got these cars. Seriously, these cars like death maniacs. They're playing Death Race 2000 down the. Oh.
I was going to say. Again, they're bringing in this new what they call speed limit thing here in Thailand, which starts on the 1st of April. 3-lane traffic.
I thought this guy here was going to just go and cut out in front of me, this dick. No, he was already starting to make the move. Yeah, 3 lanes of traffic. The outside lane, that's the one near the gutter, would be limited to Dello. An interesting strip. We've done now what do you call it, an hour and a half of cost of living around the world. You have to scroll back because all the data's back there. Yeah, I just thought for the last 10 minutes we'll just do a bit more of the ride video. We might do this longer. I think I got to put it through the stabilizer. It's just a bit bouncy for everybody to really sort of cope very well with. But I thought, well, I've got it there. I've got it packaged up. It's exactly 2 hours and 10 minutes long. Once I put it through a stabilizer, I think we'll get a better. It'll be a lot less jittery. I was going to do it I was going to do it yesterday, but I forgot all about it. And I did give everybody a chance when they come in this morning. What do you want to do? You want to see the ride? Do you want to do the cost of living? And I think everybody started talking about the cost of living, so we went to the cost of living route. As I keep on saying in this stream here, it's G'day from Thailand Live, right? So it's me and whoever's live on the Discord channel talking about all sorts of stuff. It's up to you guys to drive the program. I'm sick and tired of coming up with ideas, right? It's a community we're building here on a Saturday morning and throughout the rest of the week where we want you all participating. We get, I don't know, what have we got at the moment? How many people have we got liking the stream so far? We got 24 likes, that's not too bad. 40 watching right now. Hit that like button before you bow out. But ideally we want to really focus on getting together. I'm not going to be the knowledgeable one. I'll sit here and do things on the internet and find little bits and pieces to validate a question. Like I'll be sort of the moderator of the discussion. I want people coming in and adding their voice to the discussion, maybe even doing video pop out of people's faces and everything else. This is where we want to drive this particular segment of the program back to this community-based thing. This is going to be my shtick. Let's build community, and we're just going to keep it. G'day from Thailand Live, and this is what we're going to do every week. Right? As we get more participation, we'll build the community, and we'll get a varied amount of discussions. We're not going to preempt what we're going to talk about. You're going to have to be here to make the discussion happen. Oh yeah, don't talk to me about U-turns here in Thailand. The biggest problem we have here on PopeKael Road is U-turns, because we've got 3 lanes both ways. I'm just watching the time. We've got a minute yet to go. We've got 3 lanes both ways on the main road out of Bangkok, and when those people do U-turns, right, it blocks 3 lanes of traffic. Right, it is absolutely ridiculous, and of course they'll do that every 2 minutes. Not only that, then of course you have manual filtering on the traffic lights at the major intersections, and it becomes an absolute gridlock. It really is disgusting. Stephen, my internet got taken out by a thunderstorm, the NBN line, so I'm using a laptop. Okay. Anyway, look, we could go on all day. We'll worry about this ride home. I'll get it through the stabilizer, and we can talk about that maybe sort of next live stream as a backdrop, so that I can go full screen with and just have that whole thing playing while we talk, and then popping other things on top of it. I don't know if that works. Does that work if I pop other things on top of it? No. See, once I pop things up, I got to work out how to feed the video into the backdrop, so that we can always have that always playing in the backdrop. I think I can do it, but I got to do it via Streamlabs as opposed to via the desktop, which gets confusing, if you know what I mean. We'll work something out. I just got to do some test runs. But yeah, so something to look forward to next week. Anyway, I do like to wrap it up at the 2-hour mark. Thanks to the guys who have come on and give us a bit of a super chat there. It's always appreciated. And of course our members, our quality members who like to moderate and do their bit, keeping the show on the road, answer some of the questions which I miss. trying to do all the jiggery pokery and everything else. Um, it gets to be this. It's actually more work doing the 2-hour stream than it is actually doing a video, if you know what I mean. Because video, all I can do is hold a camera and think about something, and I can take breaks. But the thing is, keeping the thing flowing and keeping the thing moving. Oh my God, tell me about it. It's actually a lot of work. Anyway, let me close that out down there, and we'll do this ride home next week properly, and I'll get it up and so on and so forth. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up now. Thanks for joining us. And think about things you want to talk about. That's what we want. We want community. We want you coming on board. We want you being part of the system, not just on the typing chat, but come and add to your voice here. I know a few of you can do it. I know Dowlow can do it. I know Stephen Monish can do it. I know Mr. Mitch can do it. Because they've popped in. From time to time. EXO, I'm pretty sure he's not computer illiterate. He can come in and add his voice to the program. And just scrolling back, if I missed anybody particularly. But as I said, we want to have discussion. We want to talk about it. If you don't want to have your face popped up on the video, then don't share your video. But as the people who come onto the chat and we want to pop out into a video source, I can quite easily do that. I'm going to pop you out there and have you as a face on the program, so that we can really sort of get that community feel going. Another thing I noticed, looks like Google have reintroduced not their Hangouts, but they've reintroduced a video conferencing system, which may be a little bit easier to use than Discord. It's something, again, I'll get a couple of my Discordians together and run some test runs. It may be a way around the $20 a month that you need to pay to StreamYard to do that video chat pop out thing. I can do that with Google. We could do it with Google Hangouts, but we could do it with that conferencing system that Google have got. I can't remember what it's called now, but it's there. And then feed that through the live stream. Maybe another thing we can go. But we really want to get back to this, building a community of people working together to help each other out and focus on the good stuff in life. And let's we're all dealing with this bullshit. So let's sort of look at the brighter side of life, because I think that's what media is missing out on right now, is that brighter side of life. The hopes that we'll be able to get back to Thailand and this year and enjoy ourselves and have a good time and maybe spend the rest of our life here. Anyway, peace out, guys. Great having you along for the ride, and we'll get out of here and catch you next week. And bye for now.
After a while, people.
Bye now. What did the Beverly Hillbillies say? Did they close their program?
Oh, the Beverly Hillbillies?
Yeah.
Gosh. I don't remember.
Yeah. What was it? That'll be all, folks, or something like that.